Welcome to Ambient Discourses, conversations with musicians and composers who create musical experiences and sonic landscapes. My name is Michael, and I am switching things up quite a bit. I've kind of had a few epiphanies and a real greater sense of connectedness to where I feel like my path is headed. So Ambient Discourse is going to continue, but in a slightly different fashion. It's going to be even more conversational, because right now the interviews, and I've really enjoyed every single one of the interviews, and they've all been genuine and from my heart. But there's still been an element where it feels like interviewer and interviewee, where it's this separateness, and I want to try and change that up a bit. And second thing that I'm going to be changing up is its work. So I want to capture the video this time instead of just audio. No editing, no splicing, and I want to make it more of just a raw conversation, and most likely just centered around an artist's work or a composer's work, and maybe a new album that's come out, and get to talk more in depth about it. Or even just philosophy and mysticism and spirituality. The whole thing's, I'm wide open. I want to have more conversations. What I'm trying to avoid is becoming a slave to this, right? I want to be free, and so this is going to become a thing that I do on my own timetable. So it might not be weekly. It may be. But I need to, for my own well-being, and I need to make this as low effort as possible, because it's a huge time sink. So moving forward immediately, all my interviews are going to be more like even more like conversations, and it's going to be no editing, so it's not going to be polished, because what I'm really after is the nuggets of the nuggets of truth that we get out of the conversations, and the connections. I really love the connections with the people, with the other artists, the composers, and I genuinely love just connecting heart to heart, mind to mind, and just having a space for our consciousness to share in. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? So that's fundamentally that's the fundamental shift of Ambient Discourses. So it's going to be switching over to the video format, and it's going to be much more conversational. And there will be little to no connection to the STOLACE relay station, which leads to the second thing I wanted to talk about. The STOLACE relay station is an ambient music program that I've been running for a couple of years now. It started out as a Twitch live stream where I played live ambient music for 2 hours. It was all improvisational, and which then morphed into the first hour being compositions that I had composed on the fly during the week, would play them, and then would do improv to follow. And so I did that for almost 2 years solid. So started March of 2021, and all the way up until November 2022, at which point season 3 kicked in, and I moved the whole thing over to YouTube. No regrets. It was a good move, and the focus was predominantly giving the attention to other artists. Of course, I included one of my songs in at the end, on most of the episodes. There is one episode that I did not include my own piece, and that was I think that was the season finale of season 3, and that was featuring women in ambient and neoclassical music, and I voluntarily withheld my slot so that it'd just be entirely women musicians that night. But the relay station, I love doing it. It's fun, but I don't get enough return for my time. It's a huge time sink, and the whole ambition to get it out on radio stations didn't go anywhere. I'm sure if I kept at it, kept slogging away, someone would pick it up. That's cool. But it's just, I felt like I was becoming a slave to the show. And I think, and part of it's my kids they're freshly into their teens, and I just have a lot of family commitments. So, so it makes it difficult to keep this passion project going on the side. So instead, the relay station is going to continue, but in an entirely different format, where it's going to be focused on just 60-second album reviews, and I'll probably do 1 to 2 a week. I'm pretty confident that I can just batch crank them out, so as musicians continue to send their new music to me, I'll put together the album reviews, and that way every artist gets a chance to have their music heard, and not just hoping. So I think it'll be a lot more inclusive that way. Geez, man, my nose is just runny. So it'll be focused on just short content, short burst content. So like focusing on like 60-second or 90-second content, like reels, churning out every few days. And then I want to make that entirely free to ambient, neoclassical, new age artists. And maybe what I'm thinking about doing is, I gotta think on that. But anyways, that's the huge shift right there, is in the relay station, and it's a little hard for me making this change, only because I feel really committed to helping other artists out. It is a soft spot, and I hate that word soft spot. It's not a soft spot. It's a part of my heart where I feel really passionate about supporting other artists, because I love it. I love it when someone buys one of my albums and they put a nice comment in the Bandcamp comment thing, and it just warms my heart so much, and I want to do that for as many people as I can. So I think the shift in strategy is capital, and I think it's going to save me a lot of time. I'll still be able to create a lot more content, and I think it'll be a lot more friendly to the way a lot of people just consume media these days. So short burst type of content. The third thing that's on my agenda that I wanted to talk about, and if you're still sticking around, I applaud you. I mean, that's honestly, if you listen to Ambient Discourses, that's what this is just droning on and on and on. Hopefully enlightening from time to time. The third thing, having this extra time come back and becoming available to me allows me to start returning to investing more time into creating music. And I've got some really interesting ideas that they're still congealing right now, still fermenting inside within. But I want to merge so many of the things that are all kind of bubbling up in my life. I want to merge, of course, ambient music. I'm very passionate about ambient music. I just think it's a fantastic style. It's like, I feel like it's our modern day punk music. The second thing I want to merge in is meditation. The idea of in creating a space for people to just slip into meditation effortlessly if they so chose. Not as a requirement, but there is, I tell you, there's I don't even know how to describe it. In meditation, when you've reached places of just expanded states of awareness, a loving awareness and consciousness, you want to go there more. You want to spend more time there and explore, and you find more of who you are in that space. So I want to incorporate more of that, more meditation. I want to incorporate kind of also a flavor of slight shamanic drum journey in there as well. Not sure how. It's something I'm playing around with. But then woven within our modern framework of like ambient music, psytrance, kind of deep space chill. So somehow congealing all of that together, and I've got some pictures in my head, in my whole, in fact, it feels like more like pictures in my whole body of what it feels like and the experience, and I've got some interesting ideas. So so that is something that I'm really excited to bring forth once I have a little bit more time. So there's something I wanted to read, and this is probably going to complete out this episode. This is going to be a really short episode of Ambient Discourses, probably the shortest episode. So a few nights ago, I had my deepest meditation experience yet. It was it's mind-boggling. Having like a deep awareness of the universe, of your place in it and how it moves through you, like everything is just energy and vibrations. And it sounds really woo-woo, but it's anyway. I want to read this to you because this was the what I wrote in the midst of that experience. By the way, the combination of meditation and breath work and shamanic drumming, that alone, that combination is just an absolute powerhouse for inducing expanded states of conscious. You don't even need plant medicines, but plant medicines are wonderful for reaching those spaces. Anyways, I digress. This is what I wrote. I feel remarkably at peace. I feel my being extends so far beyond this skin, this flesh. I feel my consciousness as energy, as flow, as movement, as frequencies and vibrations, contributing to the eternal song that's being sung as we speak. The great symphony of life, lived out one moment at a time. I am life. I am love. I am consciousness. I am energy. I am enough. I am sufficient. I am full of love. I am. The second part went on to write. I wrote, the second part went on, sing on each beautiful moment of this life, each crystalline moment, a snapshot of love, of glimmers in your eye toward the radiance of a familiar face. Home. Home is me, and I am home. We are the song that continues our living memory, our lineage, the vibrations of our ancestors, the song in their hearts, the feeling of being connected to the oneness of eternity, one with color, light, sound. And we choose the color or tone of that energy and how we express ourselves. Always, always, always turn inward. Find the resonance within and with your surroundings. Give yourself ample space to just be, not striving, not clinging, not changing because we feel something has to change. Pure, loving awareness. Pure, loving awareness. The third part goes like this. I trust myself in this space. It feels like a symphony of being. The vibrations in your bloodstream, the funny little wobbles in our mind, the curiosity of light and perception. How much of our reality we selectively filter out. to avoid seeing the totality of it all. The beautiful, the hideousness, the harmony, the feeling of being right where I need to be. I am enough. I am love. I am I. So that was a pretty profound meditation time. I've really been investing a lot of time in wrangling my brain, and getting a much better hold on my ego, on my thoughts, on letting go of attachments and aversions, and lessening the weight of my opinions, and working. No, I need to rephrase that part. And placing all my energy right here in this moment, in this space, not devoting any of my energy, any of my strength to whatever happened in the past, or what I want to happen in the future. I don't want it to keep reaching and grasping and clinging and clawing for things and always needing. Which is why I was like, I think I really need to change what I'm doing about the relay station, because I was gonna keep going at it, because I was really worried about letting people down. I was worried about the fact that some of these artists have been just really appreciating what I've been able to do for them, and I want to be able to keep doing that, But I realized that I was not free, and that none of us need another person to feel validated or to feel like our music is any better. It's kind of, it's folly, really, to think that I have anything that could possibly add to what you've made. Your work is sufficient all to its own, itself. It's your expressions, your creativity, and no service out there is going to add any value to it. It may feel good. You might feel the dopamine rush of, ooh, someone else likes my work. But that hit should pale in comparison to the feeling of being present in the moment right now, feeling the ever-flowing creativeness out of you, and as you do what you do, as you create what you create, and never looking back. The art, it's kind of like I would liken it to what you create is like the smoke from a fire, but the fire is the whole point. you're cultivating your person, you're cultivating your spirit, your consciousness, you're cultivating your connection to the earth, to music, to vibrations and frequencies. You're connecting yourself to one another, to the whole of humanity. And all of that energy gives off combustion. And so these things, these musical things that we're emitting, it's just a snapshot in time. It's just a snapshot in time. The real value is, I feel, being present right now. And filled with a heart filled with love and an intent to be kind and to be generous with ourselves. Because we have the fullness of the universe within us, within our minds, the fullness of the universe. And there's no reason why we can't be sufficient. And in what we create, it's just has to come from a place of authenticity. It's, I think, the most important piece. So I think I should probably end here, but I just wanted to say how much I appreciate the faithful few who have kind of week after week watched the Relay Station. Thank you so much for supporting the program. Thank you for my financial backers. You can keep backing me financially. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be making content. It's gonna have a lot different flavor. I also want to thank all of the artists that I've met and all the artists that have sent their music my way, and I've really valued the conversations that I've had with you guys, and some ones that were really awakening, like it really was kind of enlightening, and I felt like who I was as a person expanded. And I have to say that this journey is all about the expansion of our consciousness and the expansion of who we are. And seeing and understanding our connectedness with one another. When I started Ambient Discourses, I had mixed motives. My primary motive was really to get to know other musicians more, to make it a really nice companion piece for the Relay Station, because I was requesting artists to send me small snippets to talking about their music, and that was great and it worked. But it was a lot of work, and I was like, well, what if I had just longer conversations or interviews and then be able to grab audio from that? And so that's how that came about. But I realized that I was quickly in over my head, because I was not a skilled interviewer. But one of the things that I knew right from the get-go was that if I was going to do this, I had to be genuinely curious about the people I was talking with, to come with humility and acknowledging that I don't know all things. There's a lot that I don't know, and even some of the things that I've held as opinions or beliefs, those things are up for change. Belief and opinion, that can change from season to season, and it should. I think we regard our opinion far too much. We regard it as being important, but it's not. It really isn't. I think opinions they're necessary, I guess, for getting by in life, but on the grand scheme of things. Anyway, I digress. And I realized, and as each episode progressed, I became a little bit more and more in tune with, okay, how to carry on a conversation with a complete stranger for an hour and a half. And I really got a lot out of them. You know, some of them were a little bit more difficult or more of a challenge. And that's, naturally a challenge when you're, talking with people from around the world and you don't speak the same language natively, and you have a little bit of an accent barrier as well. But some of them had been effortless and were life-altering for me. So I want to keep doing that, but I want to try and streamline it, make it more efficient. So it's not going to be as polished. Actually, it might be a little bit more polished. Who knows? I know me. I'm pretty good at refining myself and reinventing myself. But I'm going to end up recording the video conversation right from Google Meet. Download the video, slap on a few things, and re-upload it to try and make no editing, nothing. I mean, basically trim off the ends and upload it and be done with it. The conversations are important to me, and I want to put them out there, but I want to make it easy on me because my time is so limited. But I also think that the topics are also going to veer off of not just music, but other topics that I'm exploring right now that do pertain to music, but are more about the meta physical thing, or the unspoken things that feed into music and creativity and expressing ourselves as human beings. So I hope I didn't, well, no, I'm not going to apologize for talking for 35 minutes about all this, but I'm really excited for the future. But even more so, I'm excited about right now because I've got a lot of, I feel full right now of energy and certainty and focus, and it's for that reason that that I'm making, the changes that are happening right now. And I had debated and deliberated about, prolonging this out, and just no, hard stop. In fact, I need to show you. All right, this is my daily logbook. It's like when I write down all my thoughts and stuff, and like I wrote, I'm shutting it all down. It's like, I'm shutting it down. I repeat, I'm shutting it all down. I'm not really shutting it all down. I'm adjusting and pivoting as I go, and which is something that I think is really important. Don't be afraid to change. Don't get hung up in the same old. Reinvent yourself. Try something new. Switch. You are a creative moving force. You are energy. I heard consciousness as being described as infinity, the infinity of possibility. Because at this moment, there's an infinite number of possibilities of what I can do right now with my time and with this energy. And so when you finally grab a hold of that space right there, and you slip right into the flow, into the slipstream of it all, of consciousness and the energy and the vibrations of the universe, and you really things really start to click for you. And then suddenly all of the things that you've been holding on to and doing religiously just because you are worried that people will get upset if you stop doing what you're doing. Well, of course they're going to get upset, because they've got a model for you and what they want, what we all want you to do. Everyone has a model for what we think other people should be doing with their time. We see this in whenever an artist makes a pivot or a change in course. We're like, what happened? Like, I remember when U2 came out with the Pop album. We're like, what the heck is this? I mean, we wanted more Octoon Baby or whatever. It was just a weird change. And that's because we, as the consumers, have this model of who we think that artist is. But that's just not the case. As an artist, you need to genuinely express who you are in this moment in time, in this space. Even if it's dark and ugly or sinister, or if it's pure and loving and kind, you just gotta unleash that energy until you can get back to another place of equilibrium and equanimity. I'm not sure if there's anything else I need to go on and on about. But I want to just encourage you to be flexible, be willing to change and adapt, try new things, don't get hung up on Don't get hung up on the old way of doing things. And here's an important piece to encapsulate all of that. The only way, or not the only way, yeah, the only way you're going to be in much more deeper awareness of where or how you should be expressing yourself right now in this moment is to give yourself space. Lots of space, lots of breathing room. Which means less time on your phone. It means less time watching TV. In fact, I would vote ixnaying the TV altogether. The TV does very little wonders for humankind. Less video game time. Like idle moments like that, when you're just mindlessly lost in, you're just coping or whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't give you space to just come up for air and breathe when you're not being bombarded with lots of information and lots of stimulus. To experience the joy of just following the breath in and out. Giving yourself that kind of space. Super powerful, and it equips you and enables you to think more clearly, to reprioritize your life around what is really deeply important to you, not just on the surface. And then you start to feel it. You start to feel yourself in tune with the universe. It sounds hoopty-doopty. It sounds woo-woo. But the reality is so much of what we experience in life is all in our head. The whole experience, everything. Color's not real. It's something our brain manufactures based upon, just based upon science stuff. And even what we see and hear, gets mangled. One more thing I want to show you that I wrote in one of my reflection times was how one of the things that I've been really having a challenge with is I don't like going down the woo-woo path, because I feel I don't want to alienate my ego self, I'm stuck here on earth, meat casing kind of human being person. I don't want to lose that connection. I like who I am, and I like this life, and so it's trying to merge these two, trying to partner with the part of me that is feels meta-human, to use Deepak Chopra, or Deepak's term. Anyways, I drew this thing, and it's the observer. It's this illustration of the observer mind. It's just constantly observing, and that's all it's doing. It's observing. It does not apply any sort of judgment. It does not apply any opinion. It just observes. It's constantly taking in information. I would equate it to like a sensor. It's kind of like one of the five senses, really, because we have taste and touch. It's how we perceive the world, but it's also all of this there's like a meta aspect of that, where we're processing all of this information. But then it goes into this pool in our brain, where it gets mixed in with our history and our experiences and our lineage and our family dynamics and history and all the things that have ever happened to us. It gets all pooled together, and then it drains into the ego mind. So you have the observer, the pool in between it all, and the ego mind. And for me, to make those two minds work together, and see, this is where for me it grounds the whole aspect of expanded states of consciousness. I'm trying to keep it real and not use terms like spirit or whatever. But for me, there's this part of our brain, if you want to call it spirit, that metaphor works for you, great. But for me, there's this idea of our observer mind. We spend so much of our time, most of our day, observing the world out and out and out and out and out and out. And we never take time to stop and observe our inside world and observe that pool of mixture, the things that have congealed in there over time, the things that have become our neuroses, our phobias, our attachments, and then how the ego is just, pay attention, me, it's all about me. This ego is just feeding off of all of this. And the ego is also just projecting this image of who we think we are, of how we see the world. Those projections come in the form of how we interact with each other. Like, you might not see me the way I see me. In fact, I can guarantee you don't see me the same way I see me. And you have your model for me, and your picture of who you think I am, and you project it out. And I have mine, and they kind of meet in the middle, and it gets kind of gross. Behind the projecting ego is the observer. And the observer, for me, is the one that silently sits there and just watches. And for me, that is the place that transcends ego. That's the place that can observe not only what's going on around here, but the observer can also see the ego. The observer can see the thought patterns. The observer can see how random ass our thoughts and projections are. and being in touch with that observer mind, our consciousness, our spirit, our energy. Being in touch with that it's life altering. And because you can start to see all of the things that you have assembled in your life and what you thought was important. And you just see the facade of it all, and the reality of the only thing that really matters in this moment is being present, being conscious, and with loving awareness. Loving awareness. In fact, that has become it's slowly becoming my default response to anything that I find to be challenging, including anyone that I find to be challenging. What is my answer to it? Loving awareness. So if someone in my life is being really challenging, they're being very difficult, the answer is always loving awareness, returning my awareness inward, paying attention to my body, and where's the tension, identifying the spaces in my body that are tensed up, or maybe irritated, or maybe I have a pinched nerve, and identify those spaces. Just acknowledge them, just like I do in meditation. And then I observe my thoughts, and I observe as many possible ways of understanding the situation as I can. And by following that, it slows me down, so I'm not judging as much. And I'm able to give myself space, give myself distance to see you. Because you are just a reflection of me, and I'm a reflection of you. All of the we are unique individuals, yes, but I believe that there is also a piece of us that's unspoken, that's invisible, that we can't quite put a finger on, that I think is finally starting to be seen on the quantum level of things. And that is the reality of how connected we are. That there really is no barrier. This is just a thin veneer held together by atmospheric pressure. But even the sound of my voice coming into your ears, we are connected right now. It's in that connected space where we find loving awareness, and we cultivate it. So I was going to stop this like at least 15 minutes ago, but I had a few other things that came up, and I I decided I really wanted to talk about them. So I did not make this the shortest episode ever. My friends, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. If I'm curious as to some of the things that you've been experiencing. So in the comments section below, I would like to hear your story. I want to know, what are some of the changes that you've been experiencing lately? And have some of those changes involved like your own consciousness or your own awareness of the more entheogenic nature of life and the wider awareness of our consciousness? I'd like to hear your story, so post your story down in the comments below. Thank you, my friends, for supporting me. So watch for all the changes. Ambient Discourses will keep going on. Relay Station's going to change down to just album reviews effectively right after Christmas. And then I think you're going to start seeing more music from me. And it's in the same breath, I'm also going to be honoring these collaborations, because there are people that I've met along the way that I really want to collaborate with and I really admire. Some of the names that come to mind, like Henrik Meyercord, I really just love his cello playing. It just melts my heart. I love his story. I want to work with Sonora. I really love his tape loops, and I love the nostalgia that he weaves in there. And Theogenic Sound Explorers, man, I really love their shamanic spaces. So Stefano, I'm really excited to work with you. And there's a few others Brian Ficino, I would love to have do some ambient guitar stuff with him, and that'd be fun. A whole lot of people. There's a lot of people I want to collaborate with, so I want to be able to do that. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by giving myself more space. So do that for yourself. Go through your life and trim out the stuff that's entirely unnecessary and brings you no joy. Come up for air. All right, friends. Thanks a lot for tuning in. You can find more episodes of Ambient Discourses out at youtube.com/STOLACE. Also by searching out at Spotify. Search for STOLACE there as well. Thank you, my friends, for tuning in to Ambient Discourses, conversations with musicians and composers who create musical experiences and sonic landscapes. Until next time, take care.